Subscribe to LearnCap and hit the bell icon to get notified.
So let's start with the concept of meaning of want first of all. Now student, what do you mean by want? It's quite simple. In economics, the term want refers to a desire or a wish. It's quite simple. So the term want refers to a wish, desire or a motive to owe or to use goods and services, which means in order to satisfy our want, when we use certain kind of goods and services, the desire for those goods and services will refer as want. So want is wish, desire, motive to use or to owe goods and services to provide a satisfaction. Now want may arise because of physical nature या requirement, psychological requirement it can be, or even it can be a social requirement. Social requirement it can be like in order to stay in a society, a person, a woman, I mean to say a woman who gets married in Hindu culture needs to put Mangal Sutra in order to show a sign of getting married. So there are certain want which are just required just because we stay in a society. So in economic, want refers to a wish, desire or a motive to use goods and services which will provide us the satisfaction. It may arise because of physical, psychological or social factor. Now moving towards the next answer, that is, or I will say next topic, classification of want. Now want are classified under three categories: necessary, comforts and luxury. First of all, we are going to discuss what do you mean by necessaries. Necessaries are essentials for living. Those are terms as necessaries, and it has been categorized in your CA foundation into three categories: necessary for life or existence, necessaries for efficiencies and conventional necessaries. So there are three necessaries that we are going to discuss, and necessaries are defined as something which are essential for living. So first of all, I am going to cover the first part, that is necessaries for life or existence. Necessaries for life. What are necessaries for life? Necessaries for life are nothing but a minimum physiological need. That mean there are certain things which are required for our physical requirement. It can be because of our body nature which is required in order to maintain. It include the basic food, clothing or shelter. So necessaries for life are minimum physiological need for maintenance of life. Second necessity will be necessaries for efficiency. Man requires something more than necessities of life in order to live a longer life, in order to have a energy or in order to perform a work efficiently. Those are nothing but kind of a nourishing food which will be a requirement, adequate clothing which will be a requirement, clean water. By having a nourishing food, adequate clothing, clean water, the person will be more efficient. When we say more efficient, it means the person will be able to perform any economic activity in a better manner. So for that there are certain things which are required. Those are termed as necessaries for efficiency. Moving towards the third one, which is conventional. Conventional necessaries are kind of a necessaries which are developed because of habit. It might be smoking, or it might be alcohol or tobacco, and there are certain kinds of necessaries which occur just because of social customs and convention, in which, as I discussed before, it will be a Mangal Sutra. It can be a Mangal Sutra, it can be a turban for a Sardarji, it can be a hijab for a Muslim woman, anything which is nothing but a requirement in order to live in a society. It can be because of social customs and convention. So till now what we have cleared, what do you mean by want? Want are nothing but the certain requirement of goods and services in order to satisfy our want or satisfy our requirement, I mean to say. And it has been categorized under three categories. One is necessity, and in necessity we have discussed necessaries for life, necessaries for efficiency and conventional necessaries. Now moving towards the next one, which is a comfort. Comforts are nothing but which makes life a bit comfortable or bit satisfying. In that there are Things like tasty and wholesome food, a good house, clothes that suits a different occasion, labor saving equipment which can be a washing machine, it can be a refrigerator. So those kind of goods are termed as comfort, which makes life a bit comfortable. It provides us a comfort in order to satisfy our want. So those kind of product are comfort. Now there are certain questions regarding the difference between necessities and comfort. Now student, there is no proper line which distinguish properly what is necessity and what is comfort. There is no proper line. It depends upon the person thought process or perspective. It might be a possibility that a 3 bedroom home might be a comfort for someone, but it might be a necessity for another person. There is a possibility. So there is no proper bifurcation between what is necessity and what is comfort. It depends upon the person perspective. It might be a kind of a scenario where car is a comfort for a certain person, but it can be a necessity for another person. So I'm trying to clarify you that there is a possibility that a tasty wholesome food that we are discussing, or a good house that we are discussing under a category of comfort, it can be a necessity for someone else. So it is not like that. There is not a rigid definition or rigid example that this thing will come always under a category of necessity. It can become a comfort, even it can become a luxury as well. That is a reason why I'm trying to explain the difference between necessities and comfort. Now moving towards the third one, which is a luxury. Luxuries are those wants which are superfluous and expensive. It include a expensive house or a kind of a penthouse, a luxury car, it can be a diamond, all this kind of stuff which are superfluous, expensive, actually which are not required, but people purchase just in order to maintain a status or in order to experience such kind of a lifestyle. Henceforth people purchase such kind of a product. They are not essential for living. So students, till now we have completed with the meaning of want. Want is simply a requirement of goods and services in order to satisfy our certain want, and it is categorized under necessity, comfort and luxury. In necessity we have discussed three kind of necessity. One is for survival, which is necessities of life. Second is necessities for efficiency. Third was conventional necessities, which has been developed because of habit, or it can develop because of social customs or tradition. Moving toward the next one, that was comfort. In comfort we have discussed there are certain products which makes our life a bit comfortable. It can be a washing machine, it can be a refrigerator, it can be an air condition, but there is no proper line between the necessities and comfort. It depends upon the person perspective. And the last one was luxury. Those are a kind of a goods which are superfluous, expensive. In that we get example of a penthouse, a big villa, or it might be a super car or a sports car, or it can be a diamond which is quite expensive, but actually those are not required for a living. Now students, over here I have completed with the two basic concepts. One was what and another was classification of what. Now one more interesting thing that I want to discuss with you people, that is also regarding necessities and comfort as well as luxury. In the world of economics, actually we don't discuss comfort, technically speaking. In economics we don't discuss comfort. There are only two kind of product that we discuss in the world of economics. One is necessity and another is luxury. Now how to identify which is a necessity and which is a luxury? In the world of economics we use income elasticity as a criteria through which we will be able to identify is the product a necessity or luxury. If income elasticity, that is E subscript Y, less than 1, if income elasticity is less than 1, we term those kind of product as necessity, and if income elasticity is greater than 1, we term those kind of product as luxury. This is how we bifurcate necessities and luxury. So this is the criteria that we use. Actually there is no concept of comfort in economics that we use. This is one more information that I want to share, because in CA foundation exam, in question paper they might ask you what is necessity, that how to identify necessity with the help of income elasticity. If the income elasticity is less than 1, we will term this as necessity, and if the income elasticity is greater than 1, we will term this as luxury. Clear? Okay, so we are clear with the concept. Now one interesting question that I want to put you, tell me, is car a luxury or a necessity? Yes, honey, it depends upon situation. Perfect, very good answer. If a car is required by a taxi driver, then it will become a necessity for a taxi driver, because a taxi driver wants a car in order to provide a service of taxi. So for them it will become a necessity. But for a person who just want to enjoy the service of car and want to move from point A to point B, then it might be a luxury for another person. So in the world of economics, there is nothing which is fixed or specific. It depends upon situation. This is how you have to learn economics. Keep that in mind. There is nothing which is specific for every time. It depends upon the situation. Situation will help us to identify what category the product will be. Okay. Now students, we are going to discuss with the next topic, that is utility. Now what do you mean by utility? In order to understand a utility, I have developed a small example. Now just imagine there is a person called as Raju who is a bit hungry, and Raju wants to eat something. That is her want, his want, and there is a burger which is available, which is a commodity. Now basically a burger has a satisfying power which will help Raju to satisfy his hunger. In that case, the satisfying power that a burger has, which is expected satisfying power, let me make it very clear, it is an expected satisfaction which we are talking about, will be termed as utility. So utility basically is nothing but expected satisfaction. It is not actual. Many students think that utility is an actual satisfaction. Answer is no. It is an expected. The human brain works according to the process somewhat like this. First of all, the person will have a desire for a product. Then the person will, in order to fulfill the desire, will start putting effort, and when the person puts effort, it becomes a want. Now in order to fulfill the want, there are options available. For example, there is a want of a food. Now in market there are number of options available which can satisfy a want of a hunger. Now the person expect utility, which is nothing but a satisfaction from different kinds of food, and the satisfaction in which the person finds quite high, the person will choose that food item and will demand that I want this product. And after demand, it converts into purchase, and later on that purchase will get converted into actual satisfaction. So what we are noticing, actual satisfaction comes after purchase, but utility is a kind of concept which comes before. So utility is an expected satisfaction. It is not actual. It is what we expect from a product. Just like when we expect certain kind of an satisfying power in a product, that will be termed as utility, and that satisfying power differs from product to product. In certain product you will find high level of satisfying power, but in certain product you will find low level of satisfying power. That satisfying power that you have expected from a product, that will be termed as utility. So over here what we are noticing, there is a Raju who is quite hungry, there is a burger, and the burger has a satisfying power which Raju has expected. That satisfying power will be termed as utility. So meaning that we have written over here, utility is a want satisfying power of a commodity. As discussed previously, utility is anticipated. When we say anticipated, it means it is an expected satisfaction. And when we say word satisfaction, we are discussing regarding the actual. And actual satisfaction and expected satisfaction, both are not same. There are possibility where expected satisfaction is not equal to actual satisfaction. Many times it might happen that you expect very much from a certain product, but in actual term you might not get that much amount of satisfaction. So there is a difference, and we are discussing regarding this one. We are not studying actual satisfaction. We are concerned about expected part. Now moving towards features of utility. When we expect something from a product, we get utility. In order to expect, there should be a commodity that should be available in the market, but we don't need to consume, because for having an actual satisfaction there is a requirement of consumption, but for developing an expectation there is no requirement of consumption. A commodity has utility for a consumer even when it is not consumed. So there is not any kind of a requirement to consume a product, then only you will get utility. Utility even can be found out without consuming a product. So make a note, student, we don't need to consume a product. We can expect utility from any kind of product without consuming that product. And utility is a subjective concept, which means it varies from person to person. It might happen that Raju finds apple as a product which satisfy his want, but on the other side there is a Monica which find orange as a product which satisfy her want. So it is not a kind of any criteria that a product which has a utility will satisfy same kind of want of different kinds of person. So it differs from person to person, and just because it differs from person to person, it is called as subjective. So first thing that we should keep in mind, a commodity has utility even if it is not consumed. Second thing, it is a subjective concept which differs from person to person. So a commodity might have a more amount of utility for person A, but it might be having a less amount of utility for person B, because person A might expected more amount of satisfaction, but person B might have expected more amount of satisfaction. Hence there is a difference between the satisfaction of A and B, or we can say the satisfaction of A is differing from satisfaction of B, and just because of that we can term utility as a subjective concept. Moving towards the third part, a commodity has different utility for a same person at different places or at a different point of time. So a commodity, just like we can say a sweater has a more amount of utility over a hill area where there is quite a cold, but it won't provide utility at beaches. In the same way, a sweater won't provide utility during the time of a summer, but it will provide a utility during the time of a winter. So a same product might have different kind of utility just because of a change in time and just because of a change in a place. So sweater's utility change because there is a change in place. In the same way, sweater utility has changed just because of a change in time. So there is nothing like that a product will have a utility every time at each and every places. It differs from place to place, and even it differs from time to time. The last two features are utility is not same thing as usefulness. As we have discussed previously, actual satisfaction or usefulness we get after consuming a product. It is after, but utility is before consume a product. So utility is different from usefulness. It is not same like usefulness, the first thing. And the second is the concept of utility is ethically neutral. When we say ethically neutral, the word ethic means good or bad. Now while consuming a product, the utility won't clarify that a product was good or bad. It depends upon person. For example, a knife can provide utility to a person who want to cut vegetables, and this kind of utility will be a good utility. But on the other hand, a knife can be used in order to murder someone, and this will be a bad kind of utility. But the utility or expectation that a person had wasn't clearly identifiable, was it a good or bad one. Hence it is ethically neutral. It doesn't state is it a good or bad. So students, utility is a want satisfying power which we expect from a product. Number one, it can be, there is a possibility where a person gets utility even if it is not consumed. It differs from person to person, it differs from place to place, even it differs from time to time. And utility and usefulness both are different concept, and utility is ethically neutral. Now student, if you have any kind of a doubt or query, you can put it in the chat box. You couldn't understand the meaning of utility. Just imagine, honey, you are hungry and you went to a certain hotel, and in that hotel the waiter has provided you the menu. Now before ordering anything, you go through the menu and there are many food items which can satisfy your want. Let's say there is a starter called as paneer chili dry, there is a starter called as Manchurian. All the food item has a capacity to satisfy your want. Will you order everything or will you order any specific one? First of all, tell me that one. You were hungry, you went to a hotel and there was a menu that was provided. In the menu there were a number of food products that were available, and most of the food product has a capacity to satisfy your want. Will you order everyone? Okay, you will order a specific one. Why that one you are ordering? For example, you have ordered a paneer chili dry. Why you are ordering only paneer chili dry? Because you find that it has a good amount of satisfying power as compared to other food products. Yes or no? Because you think today you will get more amount of satisfaction by eating that food item compared to other food item. That is the reason why you have ordered that one. So you have expected from that product. That expectation that you have developed from that product, that is utility. The satisfying power that you have expected, we can't term it in numbers because it is a psychological concept or it is just a kind of an experience. But it is okay. So you understood the concept of utility. Great. The expectation that you develop from a product, that is utility. Now, usually student in 12th standard find utility is a kind of a satisfaction that we get after consuming it. But actually that is wrong. It is not after consuming a product. It is before consuming the expectation that you develop. That is the reason why I am quite stressing this point, that keep a note, it is an expected. In 12th standard when you study law of DMU, usually teacher teaches you in a manner that after consuming this thing, and student have a perception that utility is satisfaction that we get after consuming it. But actually that is wrong. It is not after consuming it. It is expectation before consuming. Got it? So in the upcoming session, I will be covering further topic and I will try my best to cover law of demand and demand function. I hope the session was quite good. And there are more videos on the portal in order to help you out regarding your CA foundation preparation. And in case if you want any kind of help regarding a CA foundation, there is a contact number on the portal from which you can connect and you can put the queries over there. If it is regarding economics, I will try my best to address that one through the WhatsApp. Will request you to just go through the portal, will help you out. That's it for today. We'll keep the session of today till this much. We'll meet you in the next session. Take care, stay safe, bye bye.